Thanks for listening to the Pop Culture Cosmos and the PCC Multiverse. Check out more great podcasts today on one of these awesome affiliate networks.
You're listening to a Weeby Geeks Network podcast.
You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
The Tangibound Network. Check it out. TangiboundNetwork.com. Listen to this show, the latest episode, every time.
A proud member of the Gonna Geek Network. The opinions expressed are those of each individual. Check out all the other geeky podcasts over at GonnaGeekNetwork.com and get ready, because geekiness begins in 3, 2, 1.
On this week's episode, the uproar over a Super Mario movie. Netflix says Tudum to its competition. And are we ready to return to battle with the American Gladiators? All this and more as we once again delve into the pop culture cosmos.
Welcome to the Pop Culture Cosmos.
And we're back with another episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos. This is Gerald Glasser from Pop Culture Cosmos, Game Source, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and the Lakers Fast Break. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our shows. And if you can, please give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Plus, if you can like, share, subscribe, follow, or do anything that you can to support us right here at the Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, the Lakers Fast Break, Humanican Media, and Game Source, it is sincerely appreciated. But it wouldn't be a Pop Culture Cosmos without my good friend. He is our own American Gladiator for Pop Culture Cosmos. You got to go ahead and check out what he's doing today at Humanican Media, of course, popculturecosmos.com, and check out his great shows, Topic Apocalypse and the Super BS Games Cast. And of course, he's got an award-winning best-selling book because I gave it the award, and I told you now it's best-selling. I don't know the inside on how many sales it is. It is Congratulations, You Suck. It's available right now at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. It is my good friend. It is Josh Peterson. What's up, man?
What is up? So
I'm just going to say it's award-winning and best-selling.
I appreciate that. Unfortunately, this book has not sold nearly as many copies as Vendetta Dark did, and that's because the publisher that I went with has stopped me at every turn as far as like promoting the book goes. And it's been such a hindrance. Like the sales of this book have just been sad, and it makes me sad. So if you're out there, the book's not bad. Go pick it up. It's not marketed very well because I'm not getting help marketing it from my publisher. So I think next time I'm just gonna go back to independent publishing. But yeah. Anyways, I'm sorry. That's a downer. The book is good, I promise. You can read the reviews on Amazon. It's just the publisher is just not working with me is what I'm trying to say here. But check it out. Pick up a copy. Amazon, Barnes & Noble.
The book is good. I have it. I liked it.
Yes. Congratulations, You Suck. If you're actually in the Waco area, they have it at Fabled Bookstore physically. You can go in and grab a copy off the shelf today and take it home with you.
Well, there you go. There you go, indeed. I also want to give a big shout out before I hit back to you, my friend. Retro City Games, our longtime sponsor of this show. Want to go ahead and give them a big shout out because they celebrated this past weekend 7 years of existence. 7-year anniversary. They had their 7th-year anniversary game night this past weekend. I had a chance to talk for the first time in a long time face-to-face the owners, Nicole Galgazian, and also as well Douglas Hoyabu. Very good catching up with them. I hadn't seen them at well over a calendar year, so I truly missed them, and I was able to catch up. Their kids are growing really big, so I was really happy to see them. But, man, before we get it back into what's going on for today's show, I know you had some concerns about Sonic.
So back on Sega Dreamcast, I think, there was a Sonic game, like Sonic 3D World or something, Sonic Adventure or something like that. And
Yes.
it was a good game. You know, it was like what Mario 64 did for Mario, it did for Sonic. But for some reason, they decided to like go back to other forms of Sonic, you know, where it's just like these linear paths you're walking along. So I bring up Sonic because this weekend, I went out and bought Sonic Colors, right? Sonic Colors is a fun game, but, in retrospect, playing this, I guess, remastered edition, you can call it, I kind of have realized what the issue is with Sonic over the years. Okay? And Sonic the issue with Sonic is that it's geared only, like, all the people that grew up playing Sonic, it's not geared towards them. Like, that's why Sonic Mania did so well, because it was made for the people who grew up playing Sonic. But these newer Sonic games, they're geared mainly towards children, right? Because with Super Mario, there's a differentiation between, like, the old cartoon stuff and the games, right? The games exist on their own thing. They're for adults or for kids, really anyone who wants to play them. Sonic, every game that has come out with Sonic has been geared, or not geared, but has, like, the cartoons used to exist for the games, and now the games seem to exist as expansions of the cartoon. And it feels so childish because it's the same voice actors, it's the same, like, cartoony music. This is the issue. This is why people can still take Mario seriously, but Sonic is just kind of fallen by the wayside, is because it's a game made for kids. It seems like they don't really care about the people that want to still play Sonic that grew up with Sonic. Does that make sense? Because, like,
it does make sense.
The game has just straight up cutscenes that look like they came from the cartoon, and it's the same voices, same music. Like, it just feels like an episode of the cartoon that you're playing through. And I'm pretty sure that that's the issue with Sonic. If they were to make something like, put Sonic in this 3D world, then you would, you have the freedom to go places and do different things. That would be a much better Sonic game. If they were to make it kind of like Mario, where you can still do the fast stuff, the spin stuff and all that, but you have the freedom to kind of explore a little bit more. That is the kind of Sonic game that I think people could get behind. But these ones are just, they're not changing, and they're not made for people who want to see Sonic change.
Well, my friend, there's still a lot more time, I guess, for a lot more iterations, because, Sega is just going to run it dry on Sonic all they can, because it is their premier franchise. They're going to try to do what they can to try and find as many variations that they can put out there. So I have a feeling, whether it's on a mobile platform, whether it's on a console platform, I mean, right now, Amazing Left, the movie platform, is probably the most successful of any of the platforms for Sonic right now. And that's kind of weird for me to say, but yes, I still think you're going to see several variations of Sonic going forward, and I don't think they'll ever stop trying to go ahead and run that thing dry. So I think they're just going to do everything they can to keep that Sonic train going, no matter how many bad variations of Sonic games you're going to get. Yeah,
and that's unfortunate, because, like, Sonic has the potential to be something that people would truly love, like it has the potential to be like a Mario 64 or Sunshine or Galaxy or whatever, if they would just, like, make it that, don't keep making these, like, linear games, make something where you can explore, and then you can put the linear elements back into it, but just make something that's more like, I don't know, something that the adult could sit down and play and not feel like they have to watch the cartoon to really, like, I don't know, feel involved in it.
Well, if you have thoughts out there on the future of the Sonic franchise and the IP, please let us know. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. I just feel that Sega's going to continue to just churn out mediocre after mediocre after mediocre game.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I mean, or the early 2000s, the early to mid 2000s, when they were just putting out many iterations of Sonic, kind of did it for me. That ended it for me, my any affair or any affinity for that I have with Sonic at that time. And they've just been doing it ever since. I mean, they found some successes here, found a little bit of success there, but for the most part, it's just been like a bunch of stuff that they're throwing against the dartboard, and it's not very much of it sticking.
Yeah. I mean, and there's some gameplay issues I can get into at another time, but it's not, I don't know, it's just not as consumer friendly as, like, Mario. And I know I keep saying Mario and Sonic, even though they've had this, like, deadly rivalry forever, but, like, these new Sonic games are just not, they're not friendly towards people who, I guess, will want that more casual gaming experience.
Well, speaking of Mario, it's a Mario. We're going to be talking about Mario here in a little bit because we're going to be talking about the Nintendo presentation.
What?
You know, it just came last week. You know, it popped on right after the PC Multiverse that we recorded. So we got to go ahead and update everyone out there on what Nintendo has to offer. Some of it's pretty good. Some of it's pretty controversial, as we'll talk about the Super Mario movie. That cast was announced. We'll tell you which part of the cast was really very controversial on the internet. We'll talk about that coming up in a bit. Plus, we're also going to be talking about some good things when it comes to What If episode 7, 8, 9 coming up. Waiting for episode 8 to drop this week. Had a real chance to relook at episode 7, which was the Thor episode, which I truly enjoyed. So I have some quick thoughts on that and how it's developing, plus Star Wars Visions. I want to go ahead and share my thoughts on that as well. Fantastic Beasts 3. We want to go ahead and let you know that it is on the way, confirmed for a release date next year. We'll tell you when that is. We'll tell you what's the title, and we'll tell you if we're excited, or should you be excited, for Fantastic Beasts 3. That's coming up here in a little bit as well. And on the back end of the show, Josh has asked for this for years, and I'm totally kidding when I say that, but American Gladiators is coming back to your living rooms, as the WWE and MGM thought that this would be a great idea to revive this once again. Is the American Gladiators concept a good concept to bring back? So we'll talk about that coming up on the back end of the show as well. But we're going to devote the first half of the show, my friend, to Netflix. I know I've been talking in recent weeks about what Disney Plus has been doing, what Apple Plus has been doing. They've actually turned things totally around, and now things are starting to look up for them. Amazon Prime, we've talked about. A lot of good stuff there. HBO Max, we all know that they've been doing some good things, even though there are movies that have appeared on theaters as of late, like Cry Macho, didn't do very well in the theaters, but has been doing okay on HBO Max. And of course, you know, they've got Dune that's on the way and Matrix Resurrections that's on the way. So HBO Max has been doing some things as well. But the one of the things I wanted to ask you, my friend, it's about the leader in the streaming department, which is Netflix. They just had a big presentation. Remember last time I talked about Netflix in the last presentation they did right around E3, and I thought that was totally ill-advised because it got, pretty much everything got snowed over by everything else that was announced at E3?
Yes.
I had a real issue with it. The timing for this was a lot better. It took place this past weekend, had its pretty much an exclusive weekend, all of it to itself. A lot of things that went on that was announced, and this was really something that if you're a Netflix fan, and a lot of good stuff is on the way. They showed footage from The Witcher Season 2 that's coming up, and no surprise that they're going ahead and renewing it for Season 3, The Witcher Blood Origin. They talked about The Sandman, that's a live-action series coming as well. Talked about Cowboy Bebop, and they showed the title sequence from that, which looked really cool and similar to the anime. I mean, just a whole bunch of things. Army of Thieves, they showed off a trailer for that. Arcane, which is an animated feature. That's going to be a series. That's based off of the League of Legends. So gamers out there, you're going to get ready for more good stuff in that universe coming up. Vikings Valhalla, that was shown off. Cobra Kai, which I'm always excited about. Season 4, they showed a little teaser from that. Ultraman, Season 2, that got some new details for 2022. That's upcoming. They showed a ton of stuff. And of course, they showed Stranger Things Season 4. They showed a little sequence from there. So I want to hear your thoughts, my friend. They put a absolute ton of stuff for this Tudum presentation that they had. I think it's called Tudum. I'm going to say it for now. It's Tudum. Tudum. I didn't think that was the brightest title in the world, but hey, you know what? It's a global fan event for them. I think this is good timing. I think it really got everything over, and I think it has people talking, which is exactly what you're supposed to do when you have a presentation like this.
Yeah, so to be honest with you, I didn't even really know that this was happening until I jumped on. Yeah, there's a real Tudum moment there. I jumped on the internet yesterday, and then lo and behold, there's all of these new television announcements here. Not television, but Netflix announcements. The first thing I noticed was that our friend Mark Hamill did not get to play Vesemir in The Witcher, as everybody was petitioning for. The new footage from The Witcher looks really good. Season 1, it seemed like they were really trying to find their foot, and there's a lot of Season 1 footage in this trailer, but it felt like in Season 1, though it was really good, they're trying to find their footing. But this one, like, now that all the characters have had their, like, origin stories told, like, we're just kind of jumping right into the action and seeing some of the scenes going on really just brought me joy, man. I'm, like, really excited to see all this stuff going on. The Witcher is, especially if you watch Nightmare of the Wolf, like, it's really an interesting world that has been put together.
I didn't even mention Extraction, too, the one with Chris Hemsworth. That did so great for Netflix during the early part of the pandemic. They're making a sequel to it, and they showed a little teaser from that. So looked like he was left for dead in the water, but of course he's not when there's a sequel involved.
Yeah. I was half expecting to see the Tomorrow War sequel pop up, but I guess it's not something on their.
Well, that's Amazon Prime. The Tomorrow.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, wrong one. So.
The Cowboy Bebop trailer. It's not a trailer. Just kind of show the intro. After seeing that, like, I have a little more, like, I guess, confidence in the series. Like, I read some stuff recently about how the writer and director said that it's not so much a copy of the anime. The anime is its own mythology. This is kind of a retelling or continuation, I guess, of that story. I'm more interested now, a little more excited about it, knowing that they're not going to just be trying to rip off the anime, and just the scenes, seeing Vicious and Spike, that quick little scene where he's got the blade to Spike's throat. I can say I'm a little more excited about it moving forward.
Hey, this is Chad from Ghost Toasters, and you're listening to Pop Culture Cosmos Podcast.
You've heard others, but nothing could prepare you for the shameful stupidity that is the Jock and Nerd Podcast. Witness the hubris as they claim to be the world's authority on comic book movies.
Who said that?
Never said that. We've never said that.
Who cares? A jock said that.
Comic book, TV, movie reviews, news, and whatever they choose. Available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you find your favorite podcasts. The Jock and Nerd Podcast. Seriously, people really listen to this.
Jock and Nerd!
Wanted to ask you real quick when it comes to the Netflix Tudum presentation, and that is with Stranger Things season 4. This has been the slow burn. I mean, it's been quite a spell, and obviously a lot of things got delayed with COVID and all that, and the pandemic. But Stranger Things season 4 has been something that's such a high-profile series for Netflix, such a foundational series for them. Something that actually brings in a lot of viewers and a lot of eyeballs to their screens. Finally, we're seeing a little bit more footage, and this one showcased specifically on a house that has a lot of haunted history behind it. I'll say that. But what are your thoughts on season 4? It's not coming out until 2022. They didn't pin down a release date yet for it, but still, it's sometime in 2022. I mean, we're getting a little bit closer, but still, it's been quite a while for Stranger Things.
Yeah, so I was actually thinking about that, and I want to get to my thoughts on the trailer here in a minute, but I almost feel like COVID was kind of a blessing for Stranger Things. Not COVID itself, but like the I guess shutdown of everything, because it seems like it's the Duffer Brothers, right? They're the creators of that show.
Yes.
They didn't really seem to know what they wanted for this next season, because you kept reading during quarantine, like, oh, we're retooling the season, and we finally figured out where it's going to go. And, originally it's going to end with this season, but they're like, we're going to do 2 more seasons, I think they said. And that's going to fully flesh out and finish the story that we set out to tell in season 1. And I think that this like break that everyone had to take because of COVID was a blessing, because they were able to actually sit down without having to worry about pushing, getting something out by a release date, and they're able to kind of really map out what they wanted to do. And, looking at it now, looking at the trailer, if you notice in the trailer, it does look like they took their time on it. There's everything in the old other season trailers have been really like felt rushed, with the quick cuts, but this one, this is the first time in a Stranger Things trailer that they've actually like told a story in it. I was impressed with that. I don't know where the story's going to go, because we keep getting, like, it seems like every season it ends, and like you wonder like what's left to tell, but they obviously have a plan, and seeing this trailer, I'm really excited about it.
Well, Netflix has a tradition usually of going just to season 4 and then just kind of axing these shows from there. But
Yeah.
when it comes to Stranger Things, I mean, they're going to dictate exactly when they want to end the show. So
Yeah.
if they are going to go 2 seasons more, that's great. But the references there, I know Freddy Krueger was referenced in the latest teaser that was there. A lot of people were talking about that, and just a lot of things that are going on. Obviously, it references the 80s, and it likes to poke very much at our society during that period of time. So
Yeah.
some good things hopefully will happen with Stranger Things season 4. It's something that I wasn't sure I wanted to get into, but once I did, I really got hooked on it. So I'm looking forward to seeing that whenever it comes out. But I'm assuming they're stating that it's coming out in 2022. So I'm pretty much going to hold them to their word on that. But
Yeah.
We talked about Cowboy Bebop a little bit, and seeing that, you got a little bit more confidence in this after seeing the title sequence. I mean, it looks like it's going to try to be as faithful as you can to the source material.
Yeah, faithful, but also like telling its own story, I guess, in the way that the Final Fantasy remake is telling a different version of Final Fantasy VII. And because of that, like, I feel like the purists aren't going to be able to sit back and, like, I guess I in a way I'm kind of a purist myself, but they're not going to be able to sit back and say and just feel like this is wrecking everything that they love. It's the same way that you and I look at Akira and we're like, I hope nobody touches that. But if someone were to take this approach and do like a retelling of Akira, then I might be able to get behind it instead of trying to mimic exactly what was done before.
Wasn't really on board with it, but after seeing this title sequence and seeing how close they're playing it to the original anime series, I think I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot when it comes out. And I know it's coming around the corner for a release date, I think, in a not too distant future, if I'm not mistaken.
November 12th, I think.
November 19th.
19th,
That's
yeah.
Correct. Yeah, 19th. There you go. But Army of Thieves, they're already capitalizing on the success of the Dave Bautista movie with a prequel. In regards to the safecracker Ludwig, who was a fan favorite in the film. So
yeah, it's just a heist movie. Like, there's no zombies or anything. So it feels like such a weird jump. But hey, maybe we'll see.
Arcane, they're just going ahead and feasting off of these video game adaptations. I'm going to say this right now, that of any studio, I think Netflix has done the best with video game adaptations. Not everything's been perfect, but they've really done a fair job of treating a lot of these IPs.
Yeah, well, I
some
mean,
respect.
They have time to sit back and, I guess, expand the mythology. They have time to sit back and actually tell the story the way that it deserves to be told, whereas movies are always, they have the producers who often know nothing about the source material telling people to do things because they need to market a toy or a t-shirt or, there's like, trust me, our market research says more explosions. People love that. Like, that's always been the issue with video game to movie adaptations. But with Netflix, you actually get the chance to sit down and tell the stories the way they deserve to be told.
They've been faithful to a lot of the source material. They actually struck it rich with Castlevania. So they've done a real nice job with that series. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they'll do with Arcane, especially for something in the League of Legends, which was not too long ago was a really popular game. And we would always talk about, as far as on the esports end, we were talking about how people would go ahead and by the thousands go to these League of Legends tournaments and in packed arenas. And we were talking about how big League of Legends was at that time.
Yeah.
I think Fortnite overtook it, and I think a lot of the luster has come off. A lot of the shine has come off of League of Legends as far as its popularity is concerned, but maybe Arcane could go ahead and just light a fire and remind everyone out there just how good League of Legends is. So we'll see what happens there.
Hopefully. I mean, it's still like one of the biggest esports games out there with, all these big colleges.
I just don't hear it as much as, because they used to have, like you said, the college university tournaments and things of that nature. I just don't hear as much. I think right around 2019 is when I stopped hearing as much about it. In 2020, I don't think it's been the pandemic has been. I think our focus has been on other games than on League of Legends, but it's still quite popular out there. But before we head to the break, my friend, I just wanted to mention real quick that Vikings Valhalla, a sequel to the History Channel series that I believe you've liked and you've watched on occasion, that's coming to Netflix. Your thoughts on that real quick?
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. Vikings is a series I always meant to go back and finish. I think I made it to like season 4, and then I kind of dropped off because I had other things I had to do around that time. But yeah, it's something I'd like to go back to, and Netflix seems like a good place for that show because on History Channel, there's just a lot of things you can't do, right? Like you got to tone down the gore, you got to limit how long the stories can be. But with Netflix, there's really no limits on what you can and can't do. So I can see this definitely being a lot bigger than it was on History Channel, and it almost feels like it belonged there to begin with.
There is some limitations. Just ask Adam Sandler what that is. So.
Right.
I will have to say it has something to do with China. So we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But still, there's, I think, obviously, one last thing I want to talk about, and then they made a major acquisition I want to hear your thoughts on. The one last thing I want to talk about is Cobra Kai Season 4. Obviously, I've been talking about this series nonstop for years now, my friend.
Yeah.
Since this was a surprise hit for YouTube. It went over to Netflix, and it's been a hit on Netflix, and it's got renewed. This is Season 4 coming up. And again, this is something where, the original movie trilogy did not endear me, but this has endeared me even more than ever anything that the cheesy 80s and 90s films could ever do. So
yeah.
I'm so excited for Cobra Kai. I still got to get me a Cobra Kai t-shirt. I got to get it. Whenever I see one, a cool one, I think I'm going to go ahead and float one. So
you should do it, man. You just you gotta sport those pop culture t-shirts,
I got to rock it. Well, I'm rocking our alma mater, my friend, National University.
Oh, yeah.
Before we head on out, my friend, I wanted to go ahead and note something to you in regards to a major acquisition they made just before the Tudum presentation. And that was, they purchased the rights to all the properties from the Roald Dahl company. And that's the famous author who penned so many, I don't want to say children's books. I want to say maybe like young adult books. How about that? Let's go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say like teenage books.
Yeah, teenage, in that range. Teens, that's teens. James and the Giant Peach, Matilda, The Witches, Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Yeah, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, and that means encompasses all of that. So all those characters, all those stories. So you not only can just tell the stories that were told by Roald Dahl, but you can expand upon that even more with some of these characters. So
yeah, I
think that for people that are looking for a great fantasy series, I think this is really going to wet their whistle. I really think this is going to be something that, for a genre that I feel has been underserved for years, and that's from the fantasy realm, because we always go superhero, we always go action, we always go sci-fi. The fantasy realm has been kind of ignored. So I want to hear your thoughts on the purchase of the Roald Dahl company by Netflix.
Yeah, so my first thought was like, okay, cool. But then the more I started to break it down and think about it, the more I realized that all the big properties by Roald Dahl have been done recently, like within the past 5 years. Like all the Charlie and Chocolate Factory, The Witches was just made for HBO Max, I think, made it. It's cool, yeah, but what are they going to do that hasn't already been done recently? Like I understand a Narnia situation where these movies haven't been touched in 10 plus years, but everything with Roald Dahl has been kind of done lately,
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like something people are going to be into at this moment, like just because it hasn't rested for too long.
But I'm assuming by the end of this decade, they've got at least a lot of content that they can go off of. So it's nice that they have that.
Yeah.
And the Sandman, based off the comic book, the DC comic book, the Sandman. So Netflix has a lot to offer, my friend. Any last thoughts on the Netflix Tudum presentation?
It was a lot of good stuff. Sandman's been something that's been in production hell for like a long, long time. They've been trying to get that off the ground for years and years. So it's nice to see it's finally taken off. Hopefully it's worth watching. Yeah, a lot of good stuff. Netflix is definitely has some content that people are going to be into. So and we're going to be able to watch a lot of this by the time the year ends. So I think we'll have more thoughts around then on it.
Well, I'll tell you what, when people start doubting the superiority or the advantage that Netflix has in the streaming marketplace, Netflix just goes ahead and just whips out a lot of stuff out there for you. And that's what they did in this latest Tudum presentation, where they put out a lot of great stuff and gave you a lot of great news on upcoming projects. So we are looking forward to it. Like Josh Peterson had said, my good friend Josh had said, that there is a lot of stuff on the way from Netflix. What are your thoughts on the Netflix Tudum presentation, the global fan event that it was? Were you excited by all the announcements? Did you miss something and wanted something more? Please share us your thoughts. PopCultureCosmos@yahoo.com.
You're listening to the Pop Culture Cosmos. Don't touch that dial. Wait, do people still use dials?
If you want to see the coolest action figure collections out there, the stuff that you played with as a kid, hear from industry insiders that made the toys that really, truly defined who we are, then you got to check out Season 1 of Action Figure Adventure. Check out Action Figure Adventure now, exclusively at Big Bad Toy Store. You'll get 10 episodes of awesome action figure fun. I guarantee if you grew up playing toys, you will love Action Figure Adventure.
We're back on the Pop Culture Cosmos. It's Gerald Glasser along with my good friend, Mr. Josh Peterson. Josh, there was another recent heavyweight presentation because, these days we just love our presentations. And that was by our good friends at Nintendo, because they've been seeing all the pub that Sony got with its recent presentation, which I still say should have been done at E3. And they also saw what happened with Xbox and its Gamescom presentation and E3. And, Nintendo Directs have come and gone over the past couple months with not too much fanfare, but they really dropped some good stuff on this recent one. So I wanted to hear your thoughts on this. Before we get to the most controversial part of the Nintendo Direct presentation, I wanted to hear your thoughts. First off, the best news, I think, out of it was Nintendo Switch Online announced an expansion pack, which includes the N64 and Sega Genesis lineup. So I thought, as someone who really loves the Genesis like you do, and for someone like me who really loved the N64 era like I do, I really think this is a match made in heaven, and to make it available, a lot of these games that are going to add a ton of games to it is really something killer.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, and just the lineup that they announced, right? You'll be able to play Mario Kart, Mario 64, Star Fox 64, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Golden Axe. I think Phantasy Star was on there. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, I mean, there's a good starting lineup, and there's a lot more to come. I think they're doing
GoldenEye?
What's that? GoldenEye's on too? Do they?
I don't know. I'm going to check right now, but I don't think it was.
Yeah,
when it comes on, I'm sold.
That'd be great though, and I think like a lot of people have been mad at Nintendo because they bought the stuff on all these virtual consoles and they lost it, right? And that's why so many people are weary of digital content. But
not yet. It's not out here yet.
But I think they're doing it right this time because this is like a subscription service, right? Like you're online, you get access to play this stuff just like Games Pass. So yeah, good stuff, good news. I'm excited to kind of dive into that and see what they've got to offer.
Well, at least like you said, it's a starting point. I mean, yes, it's going to be a little bit more costly for everybody's pocketbook out there, but to relive these N64 and Sega Genesis classics that I know you, Josh, and I know myself are probably going to love to get our hands on. That's going to be something that's worth playing. And even on the Switch, which, kind of is awkward at times to play at least older games from the past. I know I've had a little trouble here and there with that. It's still going to be something worthwhile. You can play it out and about. So I think these games are going to really be a lot of fun on the Nintendo Switch. They showed off Bayonetta 3 gameplay, and of course it's coming out next year, not coming out this year. I'm a pretty good Bayonetta fan. I really think Bayonetta and Bayonetta 2 were two of the better games on the Nintendo Wii U.
Yeah.
And I really am happy that they're reliving Bayonetta once again with another Bayonetta on the way. Your thoughts on Bayonetta 3? Is it something that you're interested in? I always thought it was well made, well crafted, and would suffice as a really good game on any of the consoles out there.
Yeah, they've been talking for a long time about Bayonetta, right? And that's kind of, they were talking about it a lot, and all of a sudden they stopped talking about it for a long time. And
they just brought out No More Heroes 3, and that didn't go quite over as well.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, I think Bayonetta, I don't think anyone was really excited for No More Heroes 3, but Bayonetta 3, I know people have been waiting for a long time. That's pretty exciting. I've never been into the series, so I probably won't get it. But, I know a lot of people who are excited to play it. And, it's a very high-speed action game for those of you who are wondering. But, yeah, it looks cool.
Deals with a lot of combos, very stylistic. These stories are usually funny, nonsensical, but very colorful.
Yeah.
And almost like you're watching an anime. I probably relate it closely to that. So I am very interested to see what happens with Bayonetta 3. I really like that. I mean, again, the first two games are very highly beloved with the critics. I mean, they are two of the critically best games of their release dates in around that time that they came out. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do with Bayonetta 3.
Yeah.
Continuing on from that, I mean, there was still more talk. Splatoon 3 had some gameplay footage. That's also coming out in 2022. Splatoon 3, I'm not sure as many people are excited for it. I mean, it is an original Nintendo game that's a multiplayer platform game, which is something I know at the time when the original came out, a lot of people were asking for. I want to say I just don't think it has resonated with a large enough audience, in my opinion. I could be wrong on that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just at the time Splatoon came out, I really thought that it would gain that upper level and be thought of just like right below Mario and Zelda. And it's never quite gotten up to that level. It's had its own niche.
Mm-hmm.
It's had its own group of individuals that love it, but it's just not quite at that level.
Yeah, you know what I noticed too this past year is that there's a weird esports push for Splatoon.
Mm-hmm.
I coach the esports at my school, and they just got Splatoon 2, and there's not really a lot of people wanting to sign up for it. But I also am seeing this in a lot of other esports organizations where people are trying to make Splatoon one of those games that people want to play. And it's been a hard sell for me to my students, and I'm just curious how that's going with the rest of the world. But Splatoon is a fun game, but it's just not like, I don't know, it's not something that I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm really stoked about a Splatoon 3,
You said it's been a hard sell for your students?
Yeah, because they don't want to play it. There's no, like, they've tried it and they've tested it out, but there's nothing about it that they're really, it's not like a Mario Kart, or Super Smash Brothers. I don't know, it's just not calling to them.
I got an answer for you on that.
What?
Just make it a homework assignment.
Right.
Make it mandatory. Put it on the chalkboard. You must play 20 rounds of Splatoon 2.
Yeah.
And make sure you videotape and stream your results to the professor.
Exactly. Yeah, you'd think. But yeah, I don't know, man. Splatoon 3 is not exactly something I'm excited about.
Monster Hunter Rise expansion pack was announced for 2022. It's coming like midway through summer at the earliest. Monster Hunter, it's been something that when it came out, which was I think 2020, early 2020, Monster Hunter came out. It had its own audience. It really started to resonate with a lot of people. I think the movie came out and it just kind of like stole the thunder from it because the Monster Hunter movie was so bad. But the Monster Hunter game and its DLC, expansion packs, whatnot, I think it's kept it going, but not to the point where we're really getting excited about.
Yeah.
Super Smash Bros. Ultimate will have its final DLC fighter revealed next month. Animal Crossing is going to get its own direct in October. And that's great for people that love Animal Crossing because you know how popular that is. There's some good stuff that they announced. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. I want to ask you this. It's coming to the Switch in November, but it's not the remake that we will be seeing for the PlayStation 5 and later on down the road for Xbox. This is just a bumped up from the original version that's not going to be, again, remade from the ground up. Do you think this is a recipe for success, or do you think that maybe they should have waited until to see if Aspire would be able to go ahead and float the remake on the Nintendo Switch?
Yeah, this was kind of a weird announcement to hear because, it literally had just been announced, and Switch is a risky platform for anything that's not Nintendo, so it's really hard to say how something's going to do, but unless you're a first-party Nintendo game. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think they only announced like one first-party title, right? It was Kirby. Yeah.
Yes, Kirby. That was the only thing that was mentioned really was the Kirby. Everything else was like they're showing a little bit of this, of existing stuff that they have. Metroid Dread got an extended story trailer. I know that a lot of people were looking at the Dying Light 2, Dying Light Platinum Edition. They were talking about that because Dying Light 2 is going to come out in February 2022. October 19th, Dying Light Platinum Edition will be coming out. So that's just a remake of Dying Light coming to the Switch.
Yeah.
Mario Golf Super Rush is just getting some add-ons. A lot of the stuff was add-ons, which is, okay, this is just filler for this presentation, which is kind of disappointment that. Disco Elysium, which if you have not played yet, it is very, very well thought of with the critics out there. So if you get a chance and you're a Nintendo Switch fan, Disco Elysium, the final cut, it is arriving to the Switch on October 12th. So please go ahead and make sure you check that out. It is very highly rated. I mean, Hyrule Warriors, a new trailer was shown for that, for its expansion pass stuff. I mean, Disney's Magical World 2, the enhanced edition. Yay. I mean, a lot of the stuff was just like little bits of this, little bits of that. The fact that Arcade Archives, Pac-Man, and Xevious, they're coming. That is pretty cool as a Xevious fan. So I'm kind of excited for the Nintendo Switch that's coming to the Nintendo Switch on that. I think it'd be kind of different. I thought, again, the controls on some of these older games with the Nintendo Switch don't always jive correctly.
Yeah, right.
But I think overall it was a decent presentation for them. Just a lot of filler stuff that was in there.
Yeah.
Castlevania, the Advanced Collection, it's coming. I mean, it's bringing 4 of the games to Switch that were, from the past. So kind of thought that was good. But before we hit to the Super Mario Brothers movie, which is causing big controversy, and we'll talk extended on that, what was your thoughts overall on the latest Nintendo Direct?
I mean, it was not things I was asking for, but it's things I was pleasantly surprised by. Like the Kirby 3D world, or whatever it's called, Kirby's whatever, it looks really good. It looks pretty. It looks wide open. Like, it looks like, I don't know, it looks like what I wish Sonic would become. There's some good announcements, but it seemed like overall, this Direct really just showed what everyone's kind of been saying all along, that the Switch sometimes feels like nothing more than a port machine.
I think it's going to be called Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
Yeah, that sounds right. Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
Yes, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. That's going to be something, again, that Nintendo's bringing out. So when it comes out in the spring of 2022, a lot of people will be excited for that. But overall, I thought it was a decent presentation.
Yeah,
but there's one thing that kind of threw everything out of whack. And it's one of those things where you have a decent presentation, you throw out some games, you throw out some expansion packs, you throw out some DLC, you throw out some trailers out there for upcoming games, you throw out some updates, and it's a pretty good overall presentation.
Yeah.
But one thing, my friend, overall just like totally sucked the life out of this presentation and turned it upside its head. And that was the announcement of the official announcement that the Mario Brothers movie, the Super Mario Brothers movie, is now going to be a thing. It's going to be on its way, and it's coming out. It's an animated. It's an animated movie, and it's coming out a Christmas time schedule. Well, these days you don't know what the actual date is going to come out until probably just before it comes out, but it's going to be right around Christmas of next year. So, okay, it's a done deal. It's something that has been talked about in development for quite some time, but it's going to be on the way. We're really excited for it. And then the announcement of the cast, I think, threw a lot of people for a loop. So I want to hear your thoughts, my friend. When you hear that Kevin Michael Richardson as Kamek, Fred Armisen as Cranky Kong, Seth Rogen playing Donkey Kong, Keegan-Michael Kay playing Toad, Jack Black playing Bowser, these are all names out there, some of them very successful that a lot of people have enjoyed over the year. over the years. Charlie Day, which not as many people know about, but you know his voice more than his actual face, or you know his meme more than his actual work that he's actually done with It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He's going to be playing Luigi. Anya Taylor-Joy is going to be playing Princess Peach. And Chris Pratt is going to be Mario. And I think a lot of people, the collective internet out there, just gave a kind of huh when that was announced. So I want to hear your thoughts. It's been getting a lot of pushback. It's been getting a lot of question marks. What's up with Nintendo announcing Chris Pratt as the choice for Mario in the Super Mario Brothers movie?
Yeah, so I had a what moment at first too, but then I thought about it. They did cast John Leguizamo in the first one as Mario, so I mean, the bar was already set pretty low. But that also makes me wonder, like, I guess Mario's not going to have his, like, signature accents in there?
No, John Leguizamo was Luigi.
Or Luigi.
Bob Hoskins
Bob Hoskins.
Mario.
Oh, that's right. But, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I it's not something that I would have figured, but I won't be able to form an opinion on it until I actually see it. Didn't somebody made a meme about Chris Pratt playing Mario a while back? I don't remember when I saw that.
How prophetic.
Yeah, memes have been predicting everything lately. But, yeah, it's just, I don't know. I guess it's a weird cast. Who would you cast in the role of Mario?
It's a Mario. I would cast myself because I don't think I'd do a good Mario. I would probably have to say, that's a good question. Who does a good Italian voice, in your opinion? That's a good question. Any thoughts? Somebody that does a good Italian voice.
I don't know. Paul Rudd maybe could do it. I feel like he's versatile with stuff like that, with voices.
There you go. Yeah. Let's go with that. Let's go with Paul Rudd. I don't have anything else in mind right now, so I'm sure it'll hit me like 5 minutes after the show ends. I'll be like, oh,
that person. I don't know. After I think about this a little more, I think I'll have a better answer for you.
Okay, fair enough. Maybe on next week's show. So I'm going to give you a week. I'll give you, like you give your students, a tough homework assignment that is almost doomed to failure. So, that's why you like your kids. But I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. So not only do I want to hear your thoughts, Josh, but I want to hear everybody's thoughts out there. Who is the best choice for Mario in the Super Mario Brothers movie? Please share us your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. But
thanks for checking out the PCC. The Pop Culture Cosmos. We'll be back in one moment. If you need your video game fix, be sure to check out Retro City Games. Located in Town Square on Las Vegas Boulevard or in Henderson, Nevada, Retro City Games has the cure for all your video game vices. Retro games and games for current consoles, Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation, Xbox, and more. Retro City Games has all the staples from any library and some highly collectible offerings too. So pick up a few games today at Retro City Games in Town Square on Las Vegas Boulevard or in Henderson, Nevada. Retro City Games is your video game metropolis.
My friend, before we head on out, a couple quick notes. Wanted to make sure and let everybody know, I'm taking a look again at the Thor episode on What If, episode 7, and I really think that's a fun one. I really enjoyed it the second time around. It's kind of funny. I think it's overall the most enjoyable episode of the What If series. So I really enjoyed it because, Party Thor is a really fun guy. And it really starts to set things up at the very end for episode 8 and 9, which is going to be their cataclysmic ending to the season. So I'm looking forward to seeing part 1 of that this week. Star Wars Visions, I want to say it's really off to a good start. I've seen a couple of the episodes already. Really am happy that the anime world got a chance to go ahead and see their own vision, pun intended, of Star Wars. I really like this aspect of it, my friend. Have you had a chance to check out Star Wars Visions?
I have not. I haven't had a chance to watch much TV this week, but I'm definitely going to check it out because I've heard great things about it. So I'll probably sit down and spend some time with it this week.
But before we head on out, my friend, Fantastic Beasts 3 was announced for next April of 2022 because what we thought was 2021 would be this loaded year of stuff seems to be more like 2022 is going to be a loaded year.
Pushed back.
Yeah, exactly. So Fantastic Beasts 3, which is going to be The Secrets of Dumbledore. And no Johnny Depp, which I know has been talked about ad nauseum in regards to what's going on there. And I don't want to really get into the specifics on that one, but I know a lot of people are happy with it. But you also noted to me that a lot of people aren't happy with it and are going to boycott the movie when it comes out next year.
Yeah. I mean, it just seems like this franchise can't escape controversy. You know, they got out of the JK thing, dived into the Johnny Depp thing. But I don't know.
People
like,
on both sides. People don't want to see it if he's in it.
Exactly. People don't want to watch if he's not in it. But, you know, what I've read about, like, Mads Mikkelsen saying that, he talked to Johnny Depp about it just to make sure there's no hard feelings. Like, I feel like that is the proper way to go about things. And because of that, I feel like I can kind of give this movie another chance. But it's like we talked about before, though, right? Like, is this going to be enough to truly wash the taste of the second movie out of our mouths?
We'll see. I mean, I think there's been enough time, because when did that movie come out? 2018? I want to say.
I thought it was 2017, wasn't it? I think
was it that long ago? I mean, it was a bad movie. I know we said it on the show at that time. It was really a disappointing film. But I think now that there has been so much of a difference in time, I think I'm going to go ahead.
You're right, 2018.
Yeah, I think that's a while. I think by the time it comes out 4 years later, I think this is a chance to get a refresh.
Yeah.
I think the previous Fantastic Beasts, it's been washed out of our minds about how bad it was, and I think we'll be able to give it a second chance.
Yeah.
As far as episode 3, there's going to be 5 of them. So there's going to be 5 Fantastic Beasts films, even though the second one did actually quite poor at the box office when it wasn't a pandemic box office. So yeah. So like I said, I'm getting into it again. I'm going to give it another shot. I know my family's still, even with JK, they're kind of begrudgingly still big Harry Potter fans, even though JK is JK. But still, I'm going to go ahead and give it another chance. Want to give a big shout out before we head on out to Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings and give everybody a box office update. Speaking of box office, just passed Black Widow as the #1 movie domestically for the entire year. Dune is doing super overseas. I wish it was here, but it's not yet here.
So Dune, Dune is dooning really well. Is that what you're about to say?
Dune is dooning really well. Close to $75 million already worldwide. Just not playing here yet. No Time to Die, it's going to do well already. I think it's playing in the UK already, so that's already in international markets. So the movie theaters out there, they're slowly coming back to life. It's not like it was before, but there is a nice point. I mean, there are some good stories. I mean, Dear Evan Hansen, unfortunately, was a bomb this weekend at the box office.
Yeah,
so.
I read some interesting things about that. Mainly that the main character is being played by someone who clearly looks like he's in his 30s.
Yeah, that was a total miscast. I understand that he is from the actual stage play.
Yeah.
He's actually the lead for the stage play version of it, but I think, like you said, it was a total miscast, and I think a lot of that flack has become of it. It's getting middling reviews, and it got killed at the box office this weekend. So, Dear Evan Hansen, and this is something I want to go in with you, or one of our Friday shows with Melinda Barkhouse. I want to go into this year into depth, because this year has been the year of the musical, and I'm not sure it's been the year of the hit musical, but it's been the year of the musical. A lot of musicals have come out. There's still more musicals left to go, like Sing, and of course the Steven Spielberg movie that's coming out later this year, West Side Story.
Yeah.
That new version of that musical. So I want to talk about that, hopefully on an upcoming episode. Annette was something I really enjoyed, and that's available on Amazon Prime. If you're into Adam Driver and Maria Cotillard, they did a great job in that movie, and it's kind of weird, but it's also kind of fun. But the singing is great, and the music's from an old band, a favorite of mine, called Sparks. So Annette was a musical that came out to decent reviews. So, I mean, right now it's just there's a lot of musicals out there. Just hopefully there's going to be one that really connects with people. Into the Heights, well, we know the situation there, so don't want to go into too much detail on that. But again, there's been a lot of musicals out there, and one of these days, Josh, I want to go ahead and talk to you or Melinda about this in detail. But I know there's musicals they're out there, they're coming out. But they're just not finding a connection with the audience. So I definitely want to go into deeper on thoughts on that. Hopefully with you, maybe even next week. Would you like to talk about that?
Sure, sounds good.
All right. So we'll talk about more about these musicals, and I'll have a list of all the musicals that are coming out this year, have come out this year, and their relative success ratios. So I'm looking forward to that. But before we end on out, my friend, it's been a great episode. I cannot thank you enough for always being a part of the show. But it's time for you to bulk up, man. It's time for you to hit the weight room. It's time for you to go ahead and get ready. Get on that spandex with the red, white, and blue, my friend, because the American Gladiators, baby, are coming back to a screen near you. I don't know which platform yet. I'm assuming it might be something to do with a streaming outlet because everything seemingly is landing on a streaming outlet, but we'll wait and see. But the WWE and MGM are getting together to recreate the wonderful time in the 80s and 90s in regards to the syndicated hit series, which is a part of TV's past, but it's going to be revived again in the American Gladiators. So I want to hear your thoughts, my friend. Are you ready to go ahead and see one-named individuals like Jet and Turbo and whatever their names were from back in the day? Just go ahead and just whack wannabe individual gladiators that are regular contestants like you and I, just trying to go on the show and trying to go ahead and do the obstacles and then just getting whacked upside the head by an American Gladiator?
Yeah, but this show is kind of before my time, so I've been reading about it, and I'm kind of I'm interested,
This was a big show when it was sent out in syndication in the early 90s, late 80s, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Around those times. It had its moment in the sun, but then quickly died off because it is a reminder of that era, and it just did not age very well. And now I guess since, the comment was made on our social media, Pop Culture Cosmos on Facebook, to an article I posted and about a reboot. I don't know which reboot. I don't remember which reboot because there's always too many reboots. But yeah, the individual was very mad that there are, why can't Hollywood come up with anything original? They don't. They don't want to. They don't choose to. They just go ahead and reboot stuff like this.
Whatever's worked.
Absolutely. But the funny part is it's MGM and the WWE. And WWE, if you are familiar with their entire history, they have not done well once they've tried to go ahead and spin off into something else.
No.
Whether it's WWE Films, whether it's the World Bodybuilding League, whether it's the XFL, whether it's all these other things that they've tried to do over the years, supplemental drink, supplements of some type. But yeah, they had IcoPro, which was a powder drink. Yeah, I think they were involved with that. And yeah, just a whole bunch of stuff that they've tried and failed. And I'm not so sure I have all the confidence in the world that they're going to be able to pull this off. But hey, it's content. It's going to go up on somewhere. Someone's going to want to be part of it. And I can't go too much off the beaten path because I do like Wipeout. I did love MXC back in the day.
Oh, that's right.
And I love the fact, and I enjoy the fact that Wipeout has found a new life with John Cena. And I do like the fact that it is now, again, a staple on TBS. So I want to hear your thoughts finally before we head on out. Is American Gladiators going to be worth your time?
Maybe. If it features people from wrestling, I could see that being a good way to bring fans over, but I don't know how much TV the average American watches anymore outside of streaming services. So it's really hard for me to be able to guess.
I don't know. I mean, this is going to be something that's going to be crash TV. It's not going to be something that's going to be award winning by any stretch of the imagination, but hey, people love a good smashing every now and then of some innocent contestant just running and trying to go through the obstacle course, then all of a sudden getting shellacked upside the head by an American Gladiator.
Yeah.
I think everybody is going to be enjoying that part of it. So we'll wait and see what happens. As American Gladiators will be sometime in the not too distant future a part of our viewing scenario once again as it's being rebooted by the MGM and WWE. What are your thoughts out there on American Gladiators coming back to life on television? Share us your thoughts. PopCultureCosmos at yahoo.com. Well, my friend, it's been a great episode once again. We have blah, 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 blah on pop culture for another hour and hopefully entertain the masses as only we can. Looking forward to going ahead and talking to my good friend, Miss Melinda Barkhouse, on the Friday show, the PC Multiverse. please check out the stuff we do during the week, including the Lakers Fast Break, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and we are the #1 tabletop RPG streamer on Facebook. So check out all of our great stuff we do there, including our videos that we did this past weekend. But any last thoughts on the way out?
No, we covered a lot. One thing we did forget to mention from the Nintendo Direct, the Chocobo Grand Prix game looks kind of fun.
Oh gosh, let's not forget that.
Yeah, I don't know. I always like those games. I think Chocobo Racing on PlayStation, I think, was they were okay. They weren't bad. They weren't great either, but they were okay. And I'd much rather play that than No More Heroes 3. So
this is true. No more Travis touchdown for you, but can't get enough of Mario Kart.
Yeah. Mario Kart never fails.
So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the Pop Culture Cosmos. We thank you for listening. And here's hoping you have yourself a great day.
Welcome to Dr. Geek's Laboratory.
Dr. Geek here with another reminder that the ESO Network is pro-science and pro-vaccine. We urge you to be a superhero and protect yourself, your family, and your fellow geeks around the world. Don't be fooled by the forces of evil and their anti-science misinformation campaign. Consult the latest CDC guidelines, your doctor, and get the COVID vaccine today.
Time to grab your pillow and join the Geek Father and Little Bit for discussions on current, nostalgic, and speculative happenings in pop culture. Nerd news, fandom histories, deep dive discussions, reviews, and more. It's like listening to your closest friends have a nerdy conversation. So sit back, relax, and let the Blurred Nerds podcast embrace you with their warm, goofy goodness. It's Nerd Goals for your ear holes, right here on the ESO Network.
You're listening to a Weeby Geeks Network podcast.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Tangent Bound Network. Let your voice be heard. TangentBoundNetwork.com.
Thanks so much for downloading the Pop Culture Cosmos, and stay tuned as more great podcasts are on the way. Thanks again for listening to us here at the Pop Culture Cosmos.